Hi, my name's Sean Brana, and this is the second update to a video about the servers I have here in my attic. Quite a bit has changed since the previous video, so I've just decided to do a little update here. We had some work done at the house a short time ago with the heating system, so at one point I had to remove all of the cabinet here and the servers and everything else, so I took that opportunity to make a few upgrades. One thing I done was I installed a new light there, and I also installed a floor which I didn't have before, which made things very awkward, so now it's a lot easier for me doing any work up here. Excuse the mess of cables over here. It's just the satellite cables coming in from the satellite dishes outside. I just need to tidy that up a bit. So as far as the cabinet goes, the cabinet doesn't look much different, but there has been quite a few changes with the servers, and you can see my monitor and keyboard there, just if I ever want to work at the servers locally. Sorry about the camera shaking a bit. I'm actually using my Samsung Galaxy S phone for this video. It's the highest resolution video camera I have, so I'll just pop the cabinet open here and talk a bit more about what's inside. Right, so at the bottom of the cabinet, same as before, I've got my APC 3000 RM smart UPS. Could do with new batteries now, but it still works well. We do get the odd short power failure lasting maybe 20 seconds or so, and the UPS is absolutely fantastic for that purpose. Above that, the first server, just you see there, that is now my file server. It used to be my Linux web server, but what it is now is it's almost entirely just a file server. It has a couple of 1 terabyte SATA hard disks and a RAID 1 array, and a couple of smaller disks as well. But basically it's just a file server. What it also does is it does local DNS for the local network, and serves as a firewall for the wireless bridge. I'll talk about that a bit more in a second. Above that, the second server there, that used to be my Windows server, but it's now been upgraded with what used to be my old desktop machine. So now what I have there, it's an AMD Phenom quad core machine, 2.6 gig with 8 gig of RAM, and now that runs Citrix Zen Server 5.6.0 I think currently. So basically what I have now is I have one Citrix server and one file server, so I have a huge amount of flexibility with what I can do here. So on the Citrix server, the permanent virtual machines I have on there, I have Attic server, which used to be the physical Windows machine, and I have Sideburns, which used to be the physical web server. They're both now virtual machines. Attic server is a Windows 7 virtual machine. Basically just runs BitTorrent tasks. It gives me a remote desktop on the network if I want to work externally, and various different things like that. Sideburns is a web server, obviously hosts the SeanBrana.ie website. A couple of other small projects. I also have other virtual machines on there. I have a VPN server. I have my mail server, my primary mail server. I do have a backup server, so I can, if ever this server is down, my mail won't bounce. A couple of other testing servers on there, but basically the Citrix server gives me a lot of flexibility, a lot more flexibility than I had previously. The reason I chose Citrix for two reasons. One, I think Zen Center is really user friendly, and the other reason I chose Citrix is because it's built on CentOS, and that's my preferred distribution. It's what I'm familiar with. So the way this is cabled, I have, with my service provider, I have 32 public IP addresses. So the way the Citrix server is cabled, it's got two interfaces, one connected directly to the public network and one on the local network. So when I create a new virtual machine, I can set it directly on the public network or on the local network, or both. So the likes of the web server and the mail server, they sit directly on the public network, where a web server should be. But they also have local IP addresses for management, etc. Above the Citrix server, I have an 18 port patch panel. I've installed new cables since the last video. I used to have an issue whereby I never had enough cables. I always needed an extra cable, and I was very stupidly installing one cable at a time, or two cables at a time when needed, between the servers and the rest of the hardware down below. But now what I have done is I've just decided to install, you can see them here, I've just decided to install 12 cables from this panel to a small 12 port wall mounted patch panel I have down below. So now I've just got the 12 cables there, and if I need an extra cable, I just have to patch it in at either side, at either end, sorry. So that's very useful. At the minute, you can see there, I'm only currently using 6 of the 12 cables, so if I need more, I can just patch them in at either end. So above that, I have, which is new since the last video, is my Cisco 2600 series router. It's a 2611, purchased on eBay for, I think it was about £25 plus delivery. Rock solid router. It does network address translation for the local network. I can also port forward if I need to, to the various things, but port forwarding isn't something I really need to do when I have 32 public IP addresses. I know some of you might look at that Cisco 2611 and say, well, it only has 10 megabit or 10 megabit Ethernet ports, which is true, but unfortunately the internet connection available to me is only about 4 megabit downstream and 1 megabit upstream. So for the time being, the 10 megabit ports on the Cisco 2611 are not an issue. On the shelf above the Cisco, to the right hand side, you'll see the D-Link DWL 900 AP access point. It operates in wireless bridge mode when it's connected to the high gain directional antenna outside, and that forms a wireless bridge with my friend's house, which is almost a mile away. It's not connected directly to the local network. It runs through IP tables on the file server there at the bottom. So what I've done is I've firewalled a few ports, port 67 and port 68, and that's to stop DHCP requests being picked up from each router on either side of the network. Although I can choose which connection I want to use, I don't want that happening accidentally. So basically, if I have a computer on this end using DHCP, I want it to be assigned the gateway on this end and not the gateway on the far end of the wireless bridge. So the firewall prevents that from happening. To the left of the access point, you see a black device. That's a Belkin network USB hub. Belkin are the only manufacturer, I could be mistaken, but they're the only manufacturer that I could find that creates or that builds a device like that, and it was quite hard to find, but it's a very useful device. And what it does is it operates with Windows machines, and you install the software on any Windows machine. You plug that device into your local networker, and basically what you can do is you can connect individual computers to individual USB ports, so that for all intents and purposes that USB port is local to that computer. And the reason I have this is because of the Citrix server. For any of you who have experience with Citrix XenServer, you will know that you cannot pass the local USB ports on the host machine through to the virtual machines. So to enable use of USB ports and serial ports, in fact, on the Windows virtual machine, I've used this this Belkin device here. Basically, what I wanted to use that for was I'm using on the Windows virtual machine. I'm connecting to. I've got what I have installed is PowerShell Business Edition. So I've got I needed a serial port. I also needed a serial port to connect the console cable for the Cisco. So the Belkin device allows me to do that. I'm also using a couple of USB to serial port adapters, which allows me, for all intents and purposes, to have USB and serial ports on a Citrix virtual machine. So that was an idea that it was a small problem that I had to overcome, and that was how I solved it. Up on top of the cabinet I have the second of two access points, just providing wireless for the house. I have a 10 decibel antenna on that, sorry, which gives me very good coverage. So that's the servers as they are now, and the next video I will show you the rest of the hardware. There's been a few changes down there as well.